do you feel like you were one of the first disruptors in the modern social media age who really figured out how to use it for, I'm not going to say for evil, but for
mischief?
Yes, for mischief. That's a much better word.
So that's the thing is, I mean, I don't need to tell the folks listening to this, there was a dark age on social media where conservatives were essentially, if the powers that be wanted you banned, you were gone. Mm-hmm. They would create all these rules to be like, essentially, how can we try to get all conservatives off our platform? I would very carefully read those rules, and I would walk right up to the line and do everything I could to get people to make fun of the left, because there's no use in debating these people's ridiculous ideas.
Yes.
You should ridicule them. And so it caught on. Then you've got this grassroots army, we call them the minions of folks online who they got, they saw that there's this like happy warrior ethos online of where you can have fun holding these Dems accountable, making fun of them, and it just took off.
Yeah, and that's really like the art of around has really been lost in these serious times. And that's what's so sad, because around is really important. It's really important to screw around with your friends and have a great time. It's not wasting time. It's not immaturity. It is as necessary as self-reflection.
Yeah. So, I mean, a great example, one of the first, I remember, tremendous successes I had is, folks might not remember, but when Beto was getting ready to announce that he was running for president, he had a lot of Obama's former people Obama had already reached out to him.
Wow.
He was going to be like a juggernaut. As soon as he jumps in, it's going to be Beto. I caught wind of that, and I was like, how can we take this guy down a notch before he even gets out of the gate? And these photos of him, I think it was in college, came out where he was performing in like an animal suit in a band. And I said, Beto's a furry. And so I started just tweeting every response to his tweets, Beto's a furry. Other people saw this. He couldn't go anywhere without people started shouting Beto is a furry when he tried to show up in Iowa. Anywhere he went, completely wrecked his campaign before he even got started.
So, I mean, but that's like the brilliance of marketing, is like figuring out something that will latch, that will make purchase and catch on. And I think that would be the beauty of what you do.
Yeah. And and it's doing it in a lighthearted and fun way where, again, it's making fun of the Democrats because there's no sense in debating them.
And for so long, it was just accepted like, well, conservatives aren't funny.
Yeah.
Like, Democrats are funny. Liberals are creative. We'll never be that way. There's never going to be a late night conservative talk show. And that never made sense to me. Because,
now look at things.
Yeah, but although I'm a libertarian, I'm like, no, everyone likes to have a good time. Everyone likes to make fun of themselves. And we certainly like to make fun of other people the way we made fun of our brothers and sisters and bullies at school. So it's like, why can't we have that in everyday life? Why should we cede that critical territory to other people?
And it's so useful, because here's the thing is, if you talk to people who have worked in politics, like actually in Capitol Hill or even in the White House, they'll tell you it's more like an episode of Veep, that comedy that was on HBO, than, what was that NBC, Martin Sheen drama, West Wing. Yeah, it's not like West Wing. It's a clown show every day. And so you should treat politics with the humor that it deserves. Yeah. And this got compounded as a problem by the left being like, well, jokes aren't allowed anymore.
Yeah.
And so when they are no longer allowed to have fun and their rhetoric is essentially just, opinions or violence.
Yes.
Who wants to be a part of something like that?
No, I think that's what people are figuring out. I mean, that's certainly what younger men have figured out. Okay, so in 2020, when you guys got together, October, that critical month, it's like we were well into the pandemic. Did you think that Trump was going to win?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. And we started our podcast. So like you said, the pandemic is going on. There were still lockdowns. Our studio is in DC, so it's not like we can go in and record episodes. We were on Zoom, and we would, after a work day on like Fridays, we would jump on Zoom, would pour some bourbons, would bet on horse races, because they were allowed to race horses, right? But everyone isn't allowed to go to work, but you can race horses. So we're betting on the ponies.
You can drink and gamble, but you couldn't go to church or the gym.
And so, we would hang out, we'd talk over Zoom while we're betting on the ponies, and we're like, this would be a really funny show.
Yeah.
And turns out it was.
So if Pod Saves America, if they are Barack Obama's,
Pets.
spawn, yes, are you guys Trump's minions?
So here's the thing.
Are you beholden to any one leader of the Republican Party or the conservative movement?
We are beholden to only the idea of ridiculing the left and doing what it takes to ensure conservatives continue winning.
Okay.
That's what we are beholden to. And the thing is you never want to be beholden to an individual. I mean,
agree.
you look at what happened to Pod Save America, where so they've gotten an investment from Soros Fund Management, which has a board seat on that company. They're VC backed. Wow. And they were, the speech writers for Obama. So you're not actually having a conversation with someone. They're talking down to you. They're giving you talking points,
yes.
right? When you listen to our show, it's like you just pulled up a stool and you're hanging out with your bar at the bar with your friends. Yeah. You're actually listening from people who are not like, well, we were speech writers for Obama, and we want to also get a Netflix deal like he did, so we have to say what is approved and put that talking point messaging out there.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely governed by committee, which has to suck.
Yeah.
When you are having a conversation and truly trying to dissect what is going on in the world and what is going to happen and where we go from here.
What really has to be confronted is it's so many things. It's at the top, you have Democrat leadership, who you saw Maxine Waters say, if you see a Trump supporter, you confront them. You don't let them get in their face. Chuck Schumer said that, we will hit you back. You won't know what hit you. You will reap the whirlwind. So their leadership is completely missing in trying to corral the radical elements of their party. And outnumbered, they showed in the opening of it, over 50% of Democrats in a poll said that violence could be justified against President Trump or Elon Musk. God. So it's not a tiny segment.
Yeah.
This is a left-wing radicalization problem and the dehumanization of conservatives.
Yes.
Of being like, well, if they're a fascist or they're a Nazi, then I'm allowed to commit violence against them. That has to be confronted.
Yeah, and also, the idea, well, someone voted for Trump. I don't want them to come to my Thanksgiving. It's like, unreal. But that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
Yes.
That's it.
So let me ask you this, switching gears a little bit. So I am an unaffiliated voter. I'm an ideological libertarian. I've never been a member of a libertarian party. I'm a right of center libertarian. Are we a threat to conservatism?
No, not in the least. I think perhaps the biggest lesson to take from President Trump's massive victory last November is this is what you get when you expand the party. This is what happens when you have a big tent. When it's not about, oh, I'm trying to get as many Republicans to vote for me. When it's, I want the support of as many Americans as possible. You have Maha, which has joined the fold. You have RFK Jr. at HHS. You have Tulsi Gabbard, who joined. It's essentially become the sane people who said, I want law and order and I want my country back. I could not be more thrilled with this massive coalition that we have on our side.
So you don't have resentment toward libertarians?
Not in the
least. What about when they upset races like in Georgia?
So that does get me.
So I saw Raphael Warnock at the DNC last year, and I went up to him and I said, how much do you love Chase Oliver? And he got really flustered. He's like, what? Why would you ask me that? And I'm like, because without him, you, my friend, would not be a United States Senator.
There's this great meme where it's this cartoon.
And I thought Chase Oliver was a horrible presidential candidate. And I was really disappointed. And I wanted to like him. And I met him and I talked to him. And I wanted him to want me. As a libertarian, as an unaffiliated voter, as a working mom, all that stuff, I wanted him to reach into my capitalist sphere and pull me onto his team. He did not do that. I did not vote for Chase Oliver. I thought he was awful.
Yeah. So there's this hilarious meme, and in the first cartoon panel, it's this little cartoon guy saying that, like, today I think I'm going to vote third-party libertarian. And he goes to the poll site, he votes libertarian, and then he looks at the results, and it says 999 votes for the Republican, 1,000 votes for the Democrats, 1 for the Libertarian, guns officially banned. And it's like, that frames the situation so perfectly, because occasionally you do have to see it because a lot of libertarians are extremely principled. And I love that, because without principles, we have nothing. But occasionally you have to see it as, what is the realistic lesser of two evils?
Well, I mean, Trump actually went to the Libertarian Convention and made his case, and
it takes a lot of courage showing up there. You know, if someone's going to be wearing their clothes.
And he was booed, and it's like he knew that was going to happen, but he was like, "Hey, this is what I could do for you. I will free Ross Ulbricht the first day I'm in office," and it was like the third day, but it was pretty freaking
promises
close.
Made, promises kept.
Exactly. But Chase Oliver didn't have that kind of outreach, and it's like that's why I get frustrated with the Libertarian Party, because I feel like we can have these ideals, and Spike Cohen is like, well, maybe we're not going to win national elections, so that's why he's focusing on local elections, which unfortunately in places like Portland, the radical left, the progressives have focused on the local elections, and that's where they have gained so much ground, and they have turned these cities into garbage heaps.
Oh. It's horrible. A couple of things. So famous libertarian Roger Stone said, losers don't legislate. It's important to remember that. Losers don't legislate. Yeah. You can't get anything done if you don't get the win. So you have to keep that in mind when you want to affect these cities. And like you said, you look at what has happened. So I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. That's where the studio for Ruthless is based out of.
Do you live there?
I have a place there, but I live in North Carolina.
God's country.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could not be more thrilled. I love it. But in D.C., it's almost like Trump waved a wand. And 2 blocks from... So I have, in theory, it's a safe place because the entrances to the building have armed guards 24/7.
Okay.
Right? There's the Chanel store and everything nearby. So it's supposed to be the good part of town. 2 blocks away is an open air drug market. You would see people buying and shooting heroin at 2 p.m. And then Trump said no, and it's all gone. It is unbelievable. We did a fantasy football draft the other week. I got home around midnight. I took a walk around the block. You didn't see a single person using drugs, selling drugs. You didn't feel unsafe. There was, I got 2 blocks from that location. There was a man was shot in the head before a hockey game.
Oh, God.
So it had gotten that bad, but Trump fixing that shows this is not something you just have to accept. It's not like, well, I live in a city, so that means it's got to be dirty and there's got to be crime.
Yeah, and carjackings and rape and...
It doesn't have to be like that.
And some statistics go down, thankfully. Like, you want homicide to go down, but then others, shoot up, and it's like...
And then you'd hear from the police that, I wouldn't trust these stats because we were told, okay, you have a felony assault.
Stop counting this as a felony.
Bingo.
Yeah, this is now a misdemeanor.
Now it's a misdemeanor.
Hey, look, assaults went down.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so seeing that really show decline as a choice. And it's one that, with this example in D.C., it's one that we don't have to accept because for so long you were told, well, you move to the big city, you're going to get crime, it's going to be dirty. It's not like that. And of all places, the nation's capital, we should be proud that this is the capital of America.
We have to let these things happen because of systemic racism.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. The whole trick of being like, it's not crime, it's racism, or, he's not a murderer, it's a mental health crisis. Yeah. It's like, no, it's a choice, and we can have the rule of law, and it's great.
When did you go blind?
So
was it as a child?
So
have you ever seen colors?
It's the funniest thing. So when folks I wear the shades for folks who are just listening and not seeing the video. And it's when I worked at a hedge fund many years ago, and my account that I had on Twitter had to be a pseudonym. I wouldn't have my name attached to it because I could be drinking a Diet Coke and say, this is a horrible Diet Coke. And you'd have an investor be like, wait a minute, then why is the hedge fund long on Coca-Cola?
Yeah. We need to short that immediately.
So I made sure to completely separate that. And you know what? The shtick just hung around.
Yeah.
At this point, people just love it.
So,
and I am not blind.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.